that are worth mentioning?
I think the biggest thing is you have a veteran group. You have some veteran guys. You have Rodell, you have Gavin who came in. You also have Keziah Holmes. And sometimes you forget about Jalen Lucas, who was explosive. So with those older guys, they're doing a good job with the young guys and bringing them up to speed, making sure they have the good understanding of what's going on. And I really was glad about Cam Davis this summer. He did a really good job in the weight room. And then Usmani coming along, he's phenomenal. He's different. And you always have Sam Singleton, who was a freshman All-American last year as a kick returner. He's healthy, put on a little more muscle, and we're excited about those guys in their room.
What makes Cromont different?
To me, I was able to coach a lot of different guys. He just had the it factor. This kid can do it all. He can catch the ball at the backfield. He's one of the ultimate teammates. He was a really good basketball player. And I was surprised in watching him during our summer tracking the deep ball. This kid could do it all, and his biggest thing is his attitude and his work ethic. He wants to outwork everybody, and he's doing a really good job with that and making sure he has a good understanding of the offense.
In terms of bringing in a guy like Gavin Sawchuk, what do you think he added to the room, and why do you think he needed to be here?
I think the biggest thing is he was a veteran. You always want a veteran guy if you can get a veteran guy, because as we saw last year, unfortunately, sometimes you're going to have injuries in that room. I mean, you don't think you're going to have it, but you want to make sure you're prepared and have other veteran guys to be ready to roll. And I want to make sure, we did the things that we need to do to make sure, we hitting on all cylinders.
There are some years where Gus Malzahn is an offensive coordinator, obviously as a head coach. He will rotate a couple of guys, but many of his seasons there's been a bell cow, somebody that he designates as his top guy. How do you think it's going to shake out this year as we head into camp? Do players think that there's a starting job to take, or do you think that they're battling knowing that there's a rotation perhaps in front of them?
Well, I tell my guys all the time, just be ready for the opportunity. You never know. You can't say what you think is going to happen. One thing I do tell them, once we do give you the ball, you have permission to run as far as you want to. So that's the ultimate goal, doing the things that you need to do when when the opportunity presents itself. And at the end of the day, you want to use multiple backs. You don't want the guys to get beat up. And we're going to see how this goes. But the guys are excited. Excited about being able to kind of run the ball downhill. We're going to see, how it all pans out.
Does tempo change anything about the way you prepare your guys? I mean, obviously you've run some up tempo here in Mike's time, but Gus might want to go to different speed. Does that change how you prepare your guys at all?
No, I think you have to be ready. Football is football, and at the end of the day, our guys are the ultimate thing is being smart, understanding where to line and different things like that, and playing fast and being physical. And the ultimate goal is finishing whatever we do. So those guys are going, they're going to be prepared for that. We play fast in the past, so I think they're going to be ready. But it's going to be a little different, because Coach Gus wants to play at a different speed sometimes. But I think our guys will be prepared for it.
You mentioned earlier that it's easy to forget guys like a Roydell or a Keziah. What have they done in terms of their off-season work, and do they, what kind of opportunities might they have in front of them?
I think they're veterans. When you're talking about guys 215, 220 running downhill, they're NFL running backs. At the end of the day, you want guys who can move the chains and do different things like that. And I think Keziah, he's going to do a really good job for us this year. Same thing with Rowe. When you have two big backs, that's what you want. You want some veteran guys in there. And, they can catch the ball at the backfield. But like I said, with Ooze and Cam, and also have Sam Singleton, going to do a really good job. And the change-up guy is Jay Luke. Just stick a dynamite, get the ball in his hand, and, making sure we do the things we need to do to have the ball in his hand.
What are the possibilities that Jalen can bring you just as far as creativity? Where you can line up, play calling, just can be a running back, can be a receiver?
Well, he can do it all. One thing about him also in the return game, you kind of forget about that part of it. He also can return punts, return kicks, but you can line up Jay Luke anywhere. Our job is to make sure we get a chance to put the ball in his hand. He secure the ball, and that's one of my biggest things, and making sure we have a good understanding. We have to own the football. But I think Jay Luke is ready, and I think Coach Gus is going to put him in position to be successful.
Why were the additions of Gavin and Usman important for your room?
I think you always want, like I said earlier, with somebody like Gavin, you always want a veteran guy. He played a lot of football. I know he had a few injuries, but he's really smart. He understands football. He understands, where he fits. And Usman, he's different. This guy is really different. At his size, speed, he can catch the ball at the backfield. He's really athletic. And one thing about him, he's smart. He's a really smart football player. I thought his high school did a really good job with him, preparing him for this. And my biggest thing is making sure you do the things that you need to do to be successful. You don't have to be in a rush. You're not here to save us. Just do the things you need to do to help you be successful and help us be successful.
Does missing a spring put either of them at all behind the 8 ball as a running back, or because of experience in Gavin's case, or Usman's just talent not the case?
I don't think it's so much putting them behind the 8 ball. That's why you have fall camp, because you're going to see kids emerge and see what they can do with their opportunities. And my biggest thing is making sure I put things on his plate that he can handle. Not to try to give him too much just because he's really athletic or he's really talented. I have to make sure I'm being smart with him. And I think he's going to do a good job with that.
Are there any nuances running back with this new offensive coordinator that they have to understand and do a little bit differently than they did last year?
No, other than probably the tempo, playing a little faster, different things like that. But, like I said, I try to make this game as simple. Football is a simple game. Now, at the end of the day, you got 5 linemen. Guess what? They're going to block somebody. You have to block the other person. You have to really be up on your communication, have a good understanding of that. And our ultimate thing right now is making sure we have smart football players. That's our number one goal, making sure you have a good understanding of what's going on. Being a smart football player allows you to play fast, allows you to be physical, and making sure you finish. But I think those guys are chomping at the bit. They're ready to roll, and they're excited. And we're all excited about this opportunity.
I think you called Jalen a stick of dynamite when I walked up. What is it that appeals to you about what he can do in this offense?
Everything. You put the ball in his hand, he can do so much, with catching the ball, even out the backfield, catching the ball from slot, from the outside receiver, or just getting the ball in his hand whenever we can. I think that's one of the biggest things that we have to do because he's so electric. He can make people miss in open spaces. We saw that early on, before he got hurt, so I'm going to have to do a good job of making sure I place him in the right spot. And I think Coach Gus, he understands. He had players like this before, so he has a really good understanding of what he want to do and how he want to do it.
What has Roydell done this offseason to try to bounce back from what had to be a frustrating season for him with the injury and all?
He's a veteran. His mindset was the day he did have the injury, hey, let me get back. He did a really good job of rehab, understanding that. I'm going to have to be smart with him, having a veteran player, but Roy he's the vet in the room, man. He understands. He's the leader in the room. Get those guys in line, making sure they have a good understanding of what's going on. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have him back. Unfortunately, it was the injury, but he's ready.